Jesus showed us the will of the Father, and He never made anybody sick. He went around healing all that were oppressed of the devil. And God wants you well today.
By Jesus' stripes, you were healed. And when I read that, it was just like it got downloaded to me, and I jumped up and I took my first step instantly. Every symptom that I had instantly left.
And now, here's Andrew.
Welcome to our Tuesday's broadcast of the Gospel Truth. Yesterday, I started a series talking about God wants you well. And yesterday, I was just giving an introduction. And basically, to summarize it, I'm saying that a lot of Christians, I would say the vast majority of Christians believe God can do anything He wants to, but they don't really believe that it's God's will for them to be well, or if they do believe that God wants them well, they don't know how to receive it. It's just a desperation thing. So the vast majority of Christians are totally dependent upon doctors, medicine, health type things, natural stuff. And again, there's a place for all of those things. I'm not saying that I'm against those. If it wasn't for doctors, all of Christians would be dead because they hadn't been believing God. So I'm not against those things, but I am saying we are reaching a place to where there are things happening that the doctors can't handle. And fear has gripped people over this last couple of years with this pandemic and putting in front of them things on death and how many people are dying. You know, the CDC just admitted this last week, at the time I'm making these programs, it was just last week, that they admitted that 3/4, 75% of all of the deaths that have been attributed to this COVID thing are people that had at least 4 comorbidities, I think is the way they say that. In other words, they had an existing problem. And so what they're saying is that really the people that have died directly from COVID are approximately 1/4 of what they've been saying. And I know there's a couple of people that a friend of mine, these guys went to a place and they signed up to get tested, and they waited 2 hours and they ran out of time, and so they left without having been tested. But they had already filled out the paperwork, and the next week they got a letter saying that they both tested positive for COVID, and they didn't even take the test. There are examples of people dying in automobile accidents, and then they find out that they had COVID, and they say they died from COVID. So my point is, it has been really overstated. There are people operating in fear, and we're at a place that Christians need to believe and learn how to receive healing from God. And so that's what I'm beginning to teach on. And I